KSC Present. After this woman's son died in a mysterious crash, his cell phone gave her the answers she needed. When Nancy Denz said bye to her son on April 2017, she had no idea that it would be for the last time. You see, an hour later she was told the heart-shattering news that he had been involved in a car crash. Her son was dead. Understandably, she was lost, confused, and left trying to piece together what had happened out there on the road. But when someone handed in Daniel's cell phone, it helped solve the mystery of his final moments. For Nancy, that day had no doubt started just like many others. Daniel, you see, was about to make his way into work. So, she embraced her son and said her goodbyes as normal. However, as previously mentioned, it wasn't long before she received an agonizing phone call that turned her whole world upside down. It looked as though her son had lost control of his car on his journey, but it took a while for experts to understand exactly what had happened. To begin with, police determined that no other vehicles were involved in the accident. And as far as Nancy knew, Daniel was aware of the dangers of distracted driving. The mom assumed that it was not in her son's nature to take such chances. Then, it came to light that a witness had found Daniel's cell phone on the highway and it was open. And as it turned out, the device contained the one clue that Nancy needed in order to gain some closure over the tragic crash that killed her son. In fact, it led the mom to learn exactly why the SUV had veered off the road. Daniel was a popular young man. Indeed, on a Facebook group founded on his memory, his family and friends wrote, "Daniel was an amazing young man who always impacted everyone he met, and he was particularly loved by his mom, Nancy, younger brother Matthew, and dad Paul. Paul works as a graphic artist and is the proprietor of Paul Denz Designs, which specializes in custom paint schemes. The designer also produces murals for commercial and residential properties, and it's a talent that he appears to have passed on to his son. Daniel seemingly had a desire to follow in his father's footsteps." Daniel's SUV was the only vehicle that was involved in the accident, and to begin with, investigators couldn't figure out what had made the 22-year-old to swerve the road. But then, a witness found something that solved the mystery. On the highway was an open cell phone, and it was Daniel's. From the cell phone, then, investigators were able to determine that Daniel had been texting while driving. The reason we know he was texting is that a witness picked up his phone off the freeway. Nancy explained, "And it was open, and he was in the middle of sending a message, so the 22-year-old, it seems, was distracted by his phone." According to the National Safety Council, texting is the cause of a quarter of all car crashes in the United States. A driver can only safely take their attention away from the road for a couple of seconds. Sending a text, however, usually takes around 5 seconds. And that extra 3 seconds is long enough for an accident to unfold. Yes, that's all it takes for a disaster to strike. Whether the driver is distracted by a cell phone or something else. In fact, cell phone usage while driving causes a massive 1.6 million road traffic accidents a year. According to the United States Department of Transportation, of those involved, 500,000 will sustain injuries, while 6,000 won't even live to tell the tale. But the message doesn't seem to be sinking in for everybody. And around 660,000 drivers will still reach for their phones while driving. Less than a month after Daniel's crush, Nancy initiated the Brightest Futures Can End in a text campaign. And she intended to raise awareness of getting sidetracked while driving to those who understand the dangers of texting. But do it behind the wheel anyway. Yes, among teenagers, 94% know the risks, but around a third still do it. As Nancy wrote in a welcome post on the Facebook wall of the social media campaign, this will be the space where we share the mission and message. We will honor Daniel's life and save others. My vision is to make this real, not just for young adults, but for parents. She then went on to explain, we cannot tell our kids or adult children not to text and drive when we are still doing it ourselves. The campaign will let everyone who was touched by Daniel's amazing life see how they can honor him with this important change. Indeed, if she could save a life, then her son's death wouldn't be in vain. Nancy Denz knew the risk of driving while being distracted, as it's a topic that he and his mom talked about regularly. In fact, Nancy said she would stress the dangers of texting while being behind the wheel every week. But Daniel took the risk anyway, and he ended up paying the ultimate price. Nancy stressed to Fox 40, he didn't die for nothing. We are going to save lives. Through powerful quotes and heartbreaking stories shared on Facebook and Instagram. Nancy aims to end texting and driving for good. She said, "For me, it's real now. For my son, it's real now. So, if I can make it real for everyone else and save some lives, then I'm honoring my son." Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.